Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, the Prime Minister says he will have the final say when it comes to the island of Andros.
Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard NOTTAGE responds to criticism against decreasing crime numbers. That story is coming up straight ahead.
The police commissioner has a message for new police officers. That story coming right up.
Welcome to our news. I'm Kyle WALKINE. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, Prime Minister KRISTIE says at the end of the day, he has the last say on what happens on the island of Andros. His comments come as controversy continues over that $2.1 billion proposal for a Bahamas-Chinese agri-fisheries venture, which speaks to thousands of acres of crown land. Simone Davis tells us more in this report.
The Prime Minister's comments come as public debate continues over the $2.1 billion proposal for a joint agri-fisheries venture with the Chinese. Free National Movement Chairman Sidney Cawley last night called for Agriculture Minister V. Alfred Gray to rescind the authorization he gave the Bahamas ambassador to China to pursue the venture. After touring the Public Hospitals Authority Supply Management Agency building this morning, KRISTIE addressed concerns surrounding the issue.
I'm not easy with respect to matters of that kind. You have to be proof positive. And the Cabinet of the Bahamas makes those decisions after the Prime Minister is determined there is something worthy to present to them. And so at the end of the day, it are these hands, these same hands here, that will be responsible, okay, for determining Andros.
The deal would be an equal partnership between Bahamians and the People's Republic of China or its substantial representatives. According to the proposal, the initiative would entail the incorporation of 100 Bahamian companies under the Companies Act of 1992, and each of the 100 companies will be owned 50-50 by both China and by Bahamians or Bahamian entities. It would also call for thousands of acres of crown land on the island of Andros. Many, like Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner and businessman Dionisio D'Aguilar, have both expressed that a venture of that magnitude would give the Chinese too much control of Bahamian resources. The Prime Minister asserted that he has heard all the concerns. He referenced the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Resources Institute is a prime example of his plans for Andros and the overall betterment of the country.
And don't make no mistake about it. What is happening in Andros today, I told them I was going to do. All right? And this is essentially the greatest manifestation of support and commitment for the people of Andros. That is what I promised. And there is no possibility of my compromising on that.
He went further, explaining his vision for BAMSI.
And all the ups and downs, I want BAMSI to be a campus or a college of the University of the Bahamas. I want them to add more disciplines to that campus. And there is no doubt about that, and that is in progress. And so I want therefore Andros, right, 104 miles long, 43 miles wide, as big as Trinidad, with assets that are wonders of the world. I want Andros integrated with all of its natural assets into the economy of the Bahamas in a more meaningful way, and it will happen.
Reporting for our news, I'm Simone Davis.
Thanks, Simone. Well, the Commissioner of Police is taking a zero-tolerance approach to unethical behavior among the ranks of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. This as he charged the RBPF's newest officers with the task of upholding the respect and integrity of the force. Christina McNeil tells us more.
It was a proud moment for Police Commissioner ELLISON GREENSLADE as he welcomed 99 recruits from the A, B, and C squads into the ranks of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. But he says it's not without a great responsibility that they join the force. There will be no tolerance for bad behavior and poor decisions. He charged the new police officers to make a pledge during the passing out parade at the Police Training College, overflowing with family members and friends.
If we care for you, respect you, and trust you, you'd better give it back to us. If you smoke dope, I'm going to fire you. If you smoke dope, I'm going to fire you. If you hang with gangsters, I'm going to fire you.
Speaking to our news, Greenslade says he is pleased to have new officers join the fight against crime and the fear of crime in the Bahamas, but the responsibility is great.
Nothing we do is going to matter if the people we serve have no confidence in us and they do not trust us. We cannot, let me say it bluntly, act like criminals and expect to just do business as usual. As long as I serve as Commissioner of Police, I'm going to uphold the standards, and the standard is, number one, you come to equity with clean hands. If you're going to serve the public as a police officer, you're going to have to keep your hands clean, your name must be unsullied, and you must have respect for the people that you swore to serve.
Greenslade says he is not satisfied with the number of officers who have had to be dismissed from the force, but it boils down to the decisions they make.
In terms of release, quite a significant number. A number that makes me very uncomfortable, because I've had to release officers for things like smoking dope, as we say locally, marijuana, having marijuana in their system, officers for stealing, officers for fighting with their colleagues and committing other crimes, things that certainly would speak to unethical behavior.
National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage says part of the problem stems from the fact that the young people who join the police force often come from the same communities as criminals.
Crimes and serious crimes. And so if we can't get them together, because what we don't want, the Commissioner spoke about police officers who fall the father of the law, and the ways they fall the father of the law are like using drugs, belonging to gangs.
The Commissioner says despite his best efforts, he is sometimes left dealing with the backlash of weeding out the bad apples of the force.
Some of the most egregious crimes that have been committed by police officers that I have fired them for have turned back to me as a pointed sword, where they've taken me to court with civil suits. But I'm not going to backstep in doing what I have promised the Bahamian people I will do, to help us to uphold the standards and to do things in the right fashion, always with a sense of decency and in line with the laws of the Commonwealth of Bahamas.
14 police officers were dismissed from the force in 2015. Reporting for our news, I'm Christina McNeil.
Thanks, Christina. Well, National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage says he doesn't know why some people aren't too happy about the country's crime statistics. He said after reporting that crime was down almost 29% last month, he still received a tough criticism, and he wonders why some people, he said, aren't happy. GIORGIO STURRUP reports.
Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage says he doesn't understand why decreasing crime figures are always so heavily criticized. According to Nottage, he's been doing everything in his power to get those numbers even lower than they are now. He credited the decrease in crime numbers to more resources being pumped into the Royal Bahamas Police Force as well as the Defense Force. Nottage said everything the commissioners asked for, the government will do its best to provide.
Actions that the police have taken, the strategies that they have followed, the way that the police themselves are organized has made a significant difference in violent crimes, and in crimes almost of every category. I don't understand why persons would not wish to acknowledge that has happened.
Another problem Nottage said they have been working on feverishly is the decrease in firearms being brought into the country, and he believes that they have formed a partnership that will do just that.
We have developed a relationship with the Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms organization in the United States, and they have assisted us in being able to find where in the United States guns are being sourced, which end up in the Bahamas, and they have located a resident agent in the Bahamas, and we've worked together with them.
Then there's the issue of drug trafficking that Nottage said is a major part of the crime problem. He said those numbers should be on the way down as well.
Design special drug treatment courts, where instead of putting everybody in prison, we put them into a treatment program. We enable them to acquire skills that enable them to get legal jobs, and we are hoping that as we introduce that program, that will have an impact on the drug use and abuse.
Reporting for our news, I'm GIORGIO STURRUP.
Thanks, Giorgio. Well, police in Grand Bahama have one man in custody for a shooting incident on that island that left 2 men dead and 3 others in hospital. According to reports, just after 1 p.m., police were called to an area in McLeanstown where they found the bodies of 2 males. 3 men suffering from gunshot wounds were rushed to the Rand Memorial Hospital. The man in custody is said to be assisting police with their investigation. Anyone with information is asked to contact police at 911, 919, or your nearest police station. Well, Prime Minister Perry Christie got a tour of the Public Hospitals Authority's new Supply and Management Agency building this morning located on East Shirley Street. PHA Managing Director Herbert Brown explained that the new facility will provide for immediate access to medical and surgical supplies.
Well, what you're looking at is the new facilities to accommodate the new agency called the Supply Chain Management of the Public Hospitals Authority. It is, in fact, a facility that will provide medical and surgical supplies not only to the Public Hospitals Authority facilities, but for the entire public healthcare system. This is also designed to bring together 2 agencies that were separate and apart to ensure a greater level of accountability, efficiency, and to maximize the scarce resources of the government of the Bahamas that is provided to the Public Hospitals Authority.
Brown said this is the first time the PHA supplies and management departments are in the same building.
We are particularly pleased that for the first time in the history of our public healthcare system, we are now going to be in a position to house storage facilities that will make available supplies that we had to have stored at agencies that we procured supplies from.
Prime Minister Christie said he was impressed with the new infrastructure, noting that the new supplies and management building is another step in the direction of implementing phase 2 of national health insurance.
With national health insurance, we are integrating this whole concept of access to drugs, access to pharmaceuticals, and we are therefore minimizing any levels of duplication. This facility, I think, serves to indicate that we are making advances. We have already started the process of removing the duplication and the integration of public health programs, PHA programs, and national health insurance programs. We've set target dates for early next year for implementation of primary care in terms of national health insurance.
Still to come on our news, the Ministry of National Security signs 2 contracts for local community centers. How Grand Bahamians are dealing with the stress caused by Hurricane Matthew, and later on how the IDB is fighting unemployment. That's coming up when our news returns.
Commonwealth Bank, MasterCard, and